I'll record it on this computer. I'll record this now, and this would be onto Facebook. So, welcome everybody. It's John, and I don't know if Maggie's coming tonight. We have a special guest today. I was going to say, I can't pronounce your name. I'm so sorry.
Just urea is just good enough. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, we've been, as we were just saying, we've been trying to connect so many times over the years, and now I finally jumped on it. Okay, I'm really looking forward to this. It's a fascinating subject, but really captivating, the divine feminine, divine feminine. But I don't want to get into the theory, and I don't want to get into the retreat. We'll talk a little bit about the retreat. Obviously, the point of this is there is a retreat next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday next week in the UK.
Yeah.
But I want to explore a little bit more of the transformation that people could expect if they come along. So you're going to help us connect with that powerful energy that we all have within ourselves. So are we all ready? So it's Friday night, shining light on shadows. We're not going to be talking about shadows, and we're not going to be talking about EMF tonight. This is just about the divine feminine. And the title of the retreat, Blossom Your Soul Retreat.
Blossoming
Your soul retreat. I did look at that and I thought, okay.
Just blossoming soul. Yeah.
Blossoming
We
soul
have only
retreat.
one. It's not your or my soul. It's just a soul, right?
It's a bit like shining light on shadows. It's a general sort of statement. Let me just get my camera in the right place there. So it's the divine feminine. So this is more about women. So a lot of women find the concept divine feminine a little bit abstract. You know, it's associated with intuition, creativity, nurturing qualities. But I want to ask you, what does it truly mean to awaken this energy, this divine feminine within ourselves? Can you shed some light on that for us? What does it truly mean to awaken that energy? I'm going in with the hard questions. I'm not going to let you up here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as you said, it's an abstract concept, divine feminine, and you can't pin it down to one sentence. And yes, it's all of it. It's intuition, creativity, right? Within us, connection to that source of unconditional, infinite love. But it's more than that. You know, it can only be experienced. That's the essence of divine feminine. You know, and of course this cannot be answered in a linear form. And that's why these retreats, like what we're gonna do next week, is as this create space, safe and nurturing space for people to just explore and reconnect and just explore for themselves what is it for them is divine feminine.
So why is it important for and it's divine feminine, define. I want to say definite. Divine feminine. Now, without getting too deeply into gender, it's not just for women, is it? Is it just for women only? Or I mean, we all have a masculine and feminine side.
Exactly, yes. I mean, this retreat is only for women. Okay, so sorry about that. But yes, it's true that we all have masculine and feminine within us, and but the concept of divine, masculine and feminine takes you on to another level. You know, so it's not just an abstract concept that you can, just discuss and teach people. You know, it's the embodiment of the creative force within each of us.
I think personal development is, when you start on personal development, it tends to be a little bit sort of follow this instruction or do what I say. And I think once you step through that personal development, you start to develop a self-awareness. You start to move to a high level. So I think if I could define it, it's and that's the definition of define feminine is, but it's feminine is define feminine, but it's getting more in touch with the heart center rather than just stuck in the head. So
Um,
there's more as you said, embodiment. There's a more embodiment of that sense of being feminine. Although this retreat's for just for women, and I can understand that, it's just as important for men to get in touch. Well, okay, is it? Is it more important for men to get in touch with their feminine side than women? No, it can't be. I'm just
I think
thinking that,
it's important for both.
yeah,
It's important for both, as well as it's important for women to reconnect with our divine masculine as well. So I put yeah, and I kind of follow, not kind of, I do follow tantric practice, and in tantric practice, um, you know, the way it's portrayed, the masculine and feminine in the Western world is completely different. And masculine is more forceful energy, right? And feminine is just perceived as more passive, right? And just giving, right?
that's in the Western
Yes.
definition of it, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
I don't believe that on a deep level. So in the East,
Okay. So in Tantra Yoga, um, divine masculine, which is Shiva energy, it's like formless space full of infinite possibilities. And an embodied divine masculine is this grounded, centered ability to hold space, to shine light. So it's actually the light, let's say, is more, masculine. And the divine feminine is considered to be more, it's a cosmic life force, that energy. The manifests its all, you know, um, everything in it's all this multiplicity of different shapes, forms, colors, and it's considered to be rather like a dark force, which is like a divine cosmic womb. And when you bring together, so one cannot exist, life cannot exist without this harmony between the divine masculine and divine feminine. And when these two forces, unite within each of us, we can reconnect with this. We can expand our capacity to love and to joy and bliss, and not necessarily and that doesn't mean just chasing happiness. You can feel, it's our capacity to unconditional love, to accepting everything as is, and finding beauty in all its the multifaceted um, experiences that we can that come into our lives, and welcome it. And I think when you step into divine feminine, this is the ability probably kind of to smile and dance with what is, without judgment, without also expectation of, but just be. And this is like, and cultivate this. It can be cultivated. That's a good thing. And that's why we're here, I think. That's why we come here to this life.
the trouble with the trouble with Western society, and I've lived for years in the East, so I can see the East. I'd much rather live in the East, but I can see the East slowly moving towards the sort of the Western mentality. But I can see in the West that the stresses and strains of life just they separate us. And I know from my work in integral theory that um, we suppress our emotions, our centers, our heart to protect ourselves, and we go into our heads, and there's this mind-body separation, if you like. And of course, this creates a disharmony, um, a disconnect. And I think it's a lot of the base of a lot of the mental stress, the mental health issues that are coming on because people are looking for something that they know is that they can sense is there, but they don't know how to find it. They don't know how to get it there. And I don't think, in the West, especially today, it's like if I've got something wrong, I go along to the doctor and he gives me a pill and that's going to fix it. Well, of course it doesn't. It just numbs it. And there's many different, it's not one thing that's going to fix, it's not one thing that's going to get us back in touch with our heart level. I think I do a lot of meditation. I meditate pretty much every day. And I think that's a really good way of getting back in touch with our hearts. But your retreat has, I mean, I'm not going to read out the list. There's so many different activities you do over these 3 days. So if you like, there's lots of different threads that you can do that a woman could do coming along to the retreat. There's a lot of different things you could do to bring that richness, that color back into their lives that has sort of faded, that have worn out. So how does a blossoming soul retreat, how does it help women reconnect with these different threads, these parts they've disconnected with almost?
Oh, yes. All those activities were specifically designed to kind of invite women to awaken all the senses. And that's where the trouble is in our, fast-paced life. People get disconnected, as you said, suppress their emotions. And this is exactly the space where we will actually allow, like, where you are all, the whole of you is welcome, where you don't need to suppress, but at the same time, you also learn to express it, gently, bring awareness to um, any discomfort, any pain, anything what you want to explore within, or maybe just reconnect with this beauty. And there is a body confidence workshop that's gonna be guided by amazing my amazing friend Taluda. I think this is such a beautiful addition to this whole process, because this is a process, it's an immersive experience.
Mm.
And yeah, and I think most women can agree that and that's where it starts, right? Divine feminine is not possible without, it starts with self-love.
Sadly,
But
that's lacking in
with
the
all this
world.
conditioning of, social conditioning of
Mm.
about what is feminine, and there is lots of like new agey also kind of misconceptions about divine feminine, that it's all like love and light and let's pretend to be this powerful goddesses, fake it until we make it. But until we get in touch with all the aspects, dark or light, and bring them together. So this is what divine feminine is, just it's finding courage to um, uh, open up to your emotions, but see them not as a destructive force, but be guided by them to rediscover your true essence.
And when you say guided by them, who's really guiding you? Obviously, you as the tutor, but would you be guiding yourself? And the work that I do, it's challenging because I really have to feel the way rather than think the way, know the way. So it's trusting myself, isn't it? But
Yes. So this is that's why I guess people create these retreats, because you take yourself out of the comfort zone. And this comfort zone doesn't necessarily mean that it's very comfortable to, right? But this is a beautiful, beautiful. I'm so blessed with being offered this space for this retreat. It's in such a beautiful nature, you know. And when you are just in nature, you just, and you know, stepping barefoot on the grass, this is already, you know, it's like there's nothing more is needed, because, and it just all you need is just to drop, peel the layers, and allow yourself to just receive what is already there.
I sometimes I've lived in Myanmar for 10 years. Myanmar's not a third world country, it's a least developed country. So it's one of three countries that's not classified as being third world. And living there, it really confronted me with things. We don't know how lucky we are. And I remember we had a sports field, so we used to play football and rugby, and it was in a big suburb. And on a regular basis, we used to have groups come out, and there was a group that we supported that was women, young women in their 20s, 30s, late teens, 20s, that had been taken off the street, and they were teaching them skills. So, sorry, just basic skills, sewing and cooking, so they could get to a position where they could support themselves. So we would bring them out just for a day, sort of out of the middle of the city to where we were, and we had grass fields and trees and native bush around us. And these women came up. I was talking to one of the nuns, and these women were having a fantastic time. And I'm thinking a little bit like what you're saying. They're just getting in touch with the earth and that. And I'm thinking, well, this is pretty neat. And I commented to the nun that was looking after them, and I said, they're having a great time. And she said, yes, this is the first time they've walked on grass.
Oh. So you see how simple it is. It's just, you know, it's everything is
Well, it's when
inside. It's already within yourself. So it's getting
we
in touch. It's being able to
well, it's
feel
allowing
with
yourself.
every part of your body. Recognize that this is a divine vessel, you know, and welcoming. Like, when was the last time when you welcomed your feet, your ankles, your, you know, the whole you? Because yeah, it's we're focusing only on heart, but only on heart. I mean, but you know what I mean. You know, we are such a multifaceted beings, you know, and this process of awakening should be holistic. It is
Mhm.
a, you know, and it has to be addressed, and it can be addressed also using, you know, for since the dawn of humanity, people used sacraments to um, as powerful spirits, guides, you know, in, in, inside our hearts.
But
And
we've already said
like
that society is
cacao,
separating
cacao.
us from that, isn't it? It's like these women. I mean, I it never really occurred to me that they'd never walked on grass before. But yeah, that's a great question. When was the last time I walked on grass in bare feet? Well, I live in the UK now. Years and years, probably pre-COVID. We just don't
Do
get the
you live in
chance.
UK?
Yes, yes, I'm in
Yeah,
Manchester now.
I just did it today, and I do it even when when it rains, and it's just I think I've just been traveling to Nepal and then Peru
Oh,
and
lovely.
Galapagos, and it was just like just like once I said to my daughter, "Oh, it's just breathtaking," and my daughter was like, "No, mom, it's breathgiving." Like I was
Oh,
like,
I like
"Wow, it's
that.
so beautiful," and and
Giving.
then you come
Yes.
back here and you just realize, that the beauty is everywhere. It's just the ability to just see it and stay connected with it and
Mhm.
enjoy it. Allow yourself to enjoy it, um, and just understand that this is your birth right, the joy of life. This awakening, rebirth, and and just the whole life seems like for many it seems to be like such a heavy burden. But that's again it's and as you said that society is disconnecting us, but it's about your conscious choice, and that's when you step into your divine masculine and feminine, when you can discern for yourself, when you don't need, as if EMF uh, listening us, we don't need goop, we don't need validation,
It's difficult to let that go.
and um yeah, yeah, it took me a lifetime, and peeling lots of and lots of layers, healing,
Well, it's a
going
protection
by
though, isn't it?
radical healing journeys. Yeah.
It's a protection, isn't it? Because we when we're very young, we learn when we're from conception until well, birth is a trauma. It's an emotional event. And at that stage, at very young, we start to discern that we're separate. So we can start to move into this dualistic state. There's me and you. There's this separation, black and white, yin and yang, that sort of this separation. And I think for me, that's what that unknown yearning is that we're trying to get back to when everything is one. And in my concept of this retreat is that it's putting you back in contact with some of those things, walking on the earth. Well, we spent most of our historically humanity's done that for most of the existence is walked on the earth, been out in the weather, out in the rain, out in the sun, communing with nature, if you like. And now society, so when we're really young and we run into that dualistic state, that separation, we start to build these masks that separate us, how we think that we should be in the world and how we think other people see us in the world. And this forms this barrier, this protection, and that creates so much. I've already said the mental health issues, but that separation, that going into our heads and out of our hearts, out of our senses, out of our feelings, and it's not easy to sit in that space. And more we're moving into that space. And I think both men and women, I don't think there's a difference here. We're losing contact with that real defined masculine, defined feminine, divine feminine, divine masculine, which we both have within us. But we're losing that contact. We're losing that connection with them. But let's dig down a little bit. So let's get specific on the
Well, I mean,
retreat.
it's again, I just like how you languaging things, and language is kind of influences a lot how we perceive things as well. If you're gonna keep
Massively.
saying that it's not easy and the birth is, is trauma, you know, it's changing the perception, right?
Yep. No,
And
absolutely.
that's what the main goal of the retreat is, to elevate your consciousness to such a level when, kind of offering you the keys, showing you the doors to change your perception. And yes, and then you're gonna come back home, and that's when you will have to integrate all this as well. That's part of the process. It's just a journey, and just accept it. Stop judging that it's easy or not easy. Just
Well,
feel where what just feel and go with the flow, um and and that requires this deep faith that, you know everything is in universe is for you,
mhm. I
and
say,
even
I say,
challenges and adversities.
something I learned many years ago. We don't run to the dictionary to look up a new word. Most of the words in the languaging we've learnt from our environments. So my perception of a word is going to be mine, uniquely mine, nobody else's. I look for challenges. So when something's a challenge or isn't easy, then that's something I jump on. I don't run away from it. So if I'm in my comfort zone, I'm looking for things that are going to challenge me. So
But
I
this,
look at a challenge as being
sorry,
a positive thing.
yeah,
But that's me. That's
exactly.
that's only my definition of it, of
and
a
and
challenge.
and that's when I said that, when you step into divine feminine, it starts from within. It starts with self-love, because we can only give from out overflow, right? The
Mm,
true unconditional love can only come from overflow.
mm.
And um what did you say before? Sorry, I just lost this thread.
I was just thinking there about the self-love. That's is where it starts. And I think that's a great metaphor. You can only give when your cup's overflowing.
Yes, and what I'm yeah, that come back. So yeah, and this concept of self-love is doesn't always mean just to, take a pause, make yourself a nice bath, or, and go outside to nature. But sometimes it often means actually go towards what you fear the most. Go towards what it means that, yeah, that you have to stop this um patterns of expression, because that's what it is. That's what manifestation is, right? Consciously or unconsciously, you manifest your reality. And if
Hmm.
you still experiencing problems in your life, be it relationships, mental, physical health, financial situation, that means that you're still out of touch with that divinity within yourself, um, uh, which can recognize the divine in everything and changing this perception of reality. And it's not always, very pleasant process, right? Facing your shadows, your, what is it, shining light on shadows with EMF. Yeah, facing your shadows is an act of self-love. But of course, when there is fear, yeah, when when you and recognizing these fears, understanding that, yeah, they're there to protect you. It's the survival mechanism of your
Yeah.
body, of your ego, right? But with love, not telling to shut it down, to shut down,
Mhm.
there is some divine intelligence in those shadows and fears, doubts.
I think that's quite important. Our shadows are there. They're not all dark, our shadows, but having that support around you, but you can have the support and be sitting on the couch, stay in your comfort zone. So this retreats, there's a safe space to explore those shadows, but then you have the different activities during the few days that will actually sort of I like to call it presse. They'll What I do with my work is I'll hold a person to their edge of their comfort zone. It's really for them to step through when they're comfortable, when they know that they're safe stepping through. So how would you explain that, stepping into the discomfort?
Okay, so yeah, this is, I guess, understanding of what safe is. Safe, safe means that you this is a non-judgmental space where you will be unconditionally loved no matter what you comes to the surface, no matter what you need to process. So you feel safe from being judged. You feel seen, and that's um what we all want to, at the end, to be seen and to be just.
It's
And then in that, so safety doesn't mean necessarily the being comfortable. So
yeah.
although we will do our best to create the, the most divine,
There's
you know,
massages there, isn't there? I like the idea of that.
conditions for women to blossom, you know, but with gentle guidance, we will encourage women to welcome all, like welcome this process within to bring this wholeness of who they are.
It's
And that's when you accepting and loving yourself the way you are, and you can allow yourself just to be authentic, your authentic self, with all your awkwardness, maybe, or whatever you perceive maybe as your weakness or shadows, those could be, this your biggest treasures as well. That's
absolutely.
probably why people love you, sometimes, you know yeah. Sorry, I'm just,
How how do you
it's
how would
hard to express it. it's
it,
it's
it
really
it's a
like,
sense, isn't it?
I,
It's not
I
easy
I'm
to
not really
put into words. It's not
I'm
easy
not.
for me to put into words either. How would you explain holding the space? I we did lots of works for to be able to hold the space. So when I'm working with a client or working on a retreat, holding the space for me as the facilitator is being. It's not there's the obvious things about sort of being in a safe space, making sure we know that where the fire exits are. It's not that level. It's way deeper. It's as a facilitator, it's being present without and I'm talking on an energetic level here. I'm not talking even a conscious or questioning level. It's holding that space, that energetic space, so that a client on the retreat feels comfortable expressing whatever they need to express, to test, to see, when they step outside their comfort zone, they're not going to fall over and, hurt themselves, metaphorically speaking. But to hold the space, so how would you define holding the space?
Um, Holding space, it starts first from creating this space, right? And it's actually begins from cultivating this space, within yourself to be able to have this capacity to, have hold space for somebody else's processes, be it very painful and emotional, and still being centered to and grounded to who you are, because they're looking up at you, and they trust you, they and being so present. And that's actually where I think where divine masculine comes in.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's this marriage of divine masculine that's can has this infinite and judgmental kind of capacity, and this nurturing, loving, gentle uh energy, female energy, that can just support this process, hold a person almost like a child. Let's say,
Hmm.
and but it's different. It depends on the context, on intention, what um of kind of each ceremony, you know so and then you again, it's also then recognizing, being able, having this capacity to of being so compassionate and feeling the energy, especially if it's in a group space, right? It's like this collective energy. Oh, sorry, you're muted.
That's right. Carry on.
Mm.
I was listening. I think, yeah, it's holding the space. It just allows, on whatever level, the clients to just test their boundaries, and knowing that they're not going to be judged for it. I think that's a big part. It's not having that fear that you're going to be judged, and just being able to step out. And it's going to happen slowly over a few days, isn't it? It's not something you're going to get there Friday morning, and by Friday lunchtime you're going to be stepping over. But it must be interesting for you. So how many facilitators are on the retreat? There's you and your colleague. There's just two of you?
And no, it's actually four of us. Yeah,
Okay.
myself and three more ladies, beautiful ladies.
And how many people can actually go on the retreat?
Oh, it's a very intimate size retreat, so
Mm, quite small.
12 to 15 people, and um, that's already this, this intimacy creates this is part of this kind of safety, right? Net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And one lady will be doing yoga, and so yeah, there are different
so can I
activities.
for me, can I is there a firewalk?
Sorry,
Is there a firewalk? Did I see a
firewalk,
firewalk?
walking
Yeah.
on fire, you mean?
Walking on hot coals, yeah.
Oh, no,
Ah, okay.
it's a
All right.
divine feminine.
All right. Maybe that's on the
I
masculine
think
one.
this what you do in divine masculine retreats, probably.
Maybe it is. I
But no,
saw it
I'm
somewhere.
joking. I'm just joking. Yeah, there will be like a fire release ceremony. It's
Yeah.
sort of letting go of everything what you are ready to let go, you know.
They do. They do. It's fascinating living in Asia. They do these ceremonies, and I'm sure they do it in Nepal. Where what is it? It's
Havana.
the Day of Lights. I can't remember what the Thai word for it is, but
Oh,
what they do is
Diwali.
they put all the things that they want to let go of in Thailand into a boat, and they set fire to a little paper boat, little sort of six into a river, and they push it into the river, and they let it go down the river. And in Thailand and in Myanmar, they have these paper parachutes, and you put all the things that you want to let go of into the bottom. You set fire to them, and the heat sets these things up, and they float up into the sky. So they're about a meter square light tissue paper parachutes. So with a little bit of flame under them, they rise into the air and they drift. Fascinating in the coast in Phuket where I was, where you get hundreds of these things floating out into the dark, inky black sky over the ocean. Really quite beautiful, but
So
really
yeah, this
important being able to let go.
so that is exactly what it is. That I mean, all these rituals and ceremonies, they're created, it's not like you're gonna get from A to B, but they do facilitate this emotional release or growth or whatever your intention is, and facilitate it in a quite um, again non-linear for probably
Mm.
um, left brain thinking thinkers, like no, just tell me what to do, um, but just opening up to and and to all this kind of new or maybe not so new experiences, but going deeper within with each activity and seeing where there is resistance, where there is, um, and that's probably where you actually
Where you need
that's
to start
the
doing some shadow
direction where
work.
you need to go. Huh?
Where you need to start doing the shadow work.
Yeah.
Shadows are those
Uh,
blocks, those reasons that we have limiting beliefs. They're the things that we quite often we don't consciously know. They're influencing and creating our character, most of our non-verbal communication. And it's only by sitting with ourselves on retreat, sitting with ourselves in a safe space that we can start to feel comfortable to explore some of those. And it's not, I read a lot on shadow work, and quite often they'll say it's confronting your shadows. It's not confronting your shadows. It's acknowledging that they're there. And quite often
it's
just by
yeah,
that, by letting them go, they
yeah, but
integrate.
just that's it. And so a lot of it happens on subconscious level, right?
Mhm.
And there is so much wisdom in all these activities like ecstatic dance. I mean, because divine feminine is non-linear, it's also sometimes um, allowing yourself to experience joy and bliss and celebrate for no reason at all, you know, without giving any explanation and
Just
just
expressing.
because you can breathe and just because it feels good in your body, right? And but also yeah, like ecstatic dance, it brings it allows you this energy, dormant energy within yourself, whatever was kind of destructive energy, happy energy, or any tension can be released, and at the same time, all this dormant potential can be awakened, right? So it's just this, and people don't dance as much these days, you know.
It's one of those masks that we wear. We don't want to, especially men, um, especially that masculine energy, don't want to express. When I'm working with a client, one of the questions I'll ask them is, and when that, how could you express that? Could you write it or draw it or move, dance? And I'm working with a guy, a therapist in Barcelona at the moment in Spain, and he does his therapy sessions in the form of dance. So they're professional dancers that he's working with, but they get blocked. Oh, they're like everybody else. They have their blocks. So he gets them to move how they would express the block they've got, the shadow that they're trying to express, that whatever it is, but allowing them that safe space, but just a different way of answering the question, because most of our communication is non-verbal. So being able to tap into that non-verbal state and express it however you feel like expressing it, whether it's writing it or painting or dancing. I remember years ago we were on a retreat, and I sometimes ask the question, how long do you leave between questions if you're talking to a client? And the average is about 2 minutes, or the facilitator, the therapist looks at their watches. On the retreats that I was doing, it was about 30 minutes. And the record was 5 hours. So asked the client a question, and he went for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And then we asked him another question. He went for the rest of the day. And the question that my colleague asked him, so he was writing his life story effectively. His method was to write it out. And he wrote out pages and pages of this and put them on the wall around them. And my colleague said to him, and what could be between the lines? So he had the mask, that story that he wrote out, that he told himself, that he told everybody, and it was in front of him, until we asked him what was behind it, what was between the lines, and he was off. So it's when you do that, however, when you're able, comfortable to express what it is that's going on, then you can start to explore. And in that safe space and exploring, you can really go to that depth of transformation. Just sounds like it sounds like a fascinating retreat, because you touch on so many different elements. There's so many different exercises that you do. One of them is going to resonate with somebody, and another person, another exercise is going to resonate with them. I don't know that the firewalk would resonate with me. I've done too many of them, but I don't know. I might struggle with the ecstatic dance. I don't dance. See, that's a limiting belief.
Till you try.
We
And
haven't got much
yeah.
time left. Let's have a couple of
Mhm.
minutes. I'm going to put up the page. So if somebody's coming to the retreat, what will they experience? And I'll put up the page so that people can take a screenshot of the email address and the website. So just tell us in a couple of minutes what a person could expect if they were coming on the retreat. Off you go.
Okay, so what you gonna expect? Oh, you maybe not the accommodation and what to bring. This,
Well, it's just the last part.
yeah,
The last
maybe.
part with the email and the email and the website.
Oh, okay,
I can go
okay.
back to the start. What can they expect?
So you you ex you expect to come to the most beautiful place and allow yourself to disconnect with the outside world and with guided, nurturing, these experiences, activities. Um, Allow yourself to explore and reconnect with your true essence. Let go of any unnecessary baggage, which perhaps was necessary until it's not necessary. So whatever you are ready to let go of in this process, and just explore the capacity, your capacity mm, to love, to stay connected, and to love life, and capacity to joy and bliss, and just understanding that you are, uh, each of us is worthy of being loved and nurtured, and seen and heard. And this is the space we're inviting you to.
It looks really busy. Do you do everything as a group, or is there individual exercises, group exercises?
Yeah, it's we will encourage, yeah, as you can see, like cold plunge in outdoor pool will be optional. Of course, nature walk is optional, but some activities, like sacred ceremonies, yeah, we will encourage people to participate, because, as I said, this is a holistic process, and each of the activity involves, works with mind, body, or spirit, or all together. And the whole idea is to kind of reunite all of them in, and just reconnect with divine nature, which is within everything, not every being, as Rabbi says, but everything. And everything, that means that it's within yourself as well. And this is usually the hardest of the uh, moments when people find it so, and women especially, with years of being conditioned of only giving, they find it so hard to um, receive love. And also, just, also, it's, by, this is in a way also, as you say, everything what we do is actually um, an act of self-love, right? But it can be conscious or unconscious. It could be maladaptive kind of ways of again self-love. By giving, many women or people who just give, in a way, they are also, there is like kind of secret hope to receive some of it back, but when you cultivate it within yourself, inside your heart, inside your whole being, and recognize that I guess that's it. This is an answer. You become love, you stop seeking for it. You just become love.
You find it within.
They've just started from,
You
from
you
that.
find it within to be able to give it out. I think that's a great metaphor. The cup, it has to be overflowing to give. If it's not
Yeah.
overflow, if your cup's not overflowing, then it's much harder to give, and eventually you just get drained down. Thank you. We're out of time. We are on this Facebook pages. I'll put the links and the email and the website. And I'll also send you the link shortly, and we'll put it out on social media on YouTube. So it'll have all your contact details on there. But if anyone wants to come, so they can email you. But it's next weekend, isn't it? It's next Friday it starts. Friday
Yeah,
or
so I think the last chance is by this Sunday because it starts with following the preparation
right.
guidelines,
So people need
which
to get in touch with you
the
really fast.
mhm,
Okay.
yes.
All right. We're out of time. I don't want to get over time because then I can't edit this. Been lovely talking to you. So we'll talk again when you get, are you going to run a define masculine retreat?
Yeah, I maybe not a retreat, but I do run ceremonies, even cacao ceremonies or
Mhm.
some other ceremonies, group ceremonies, workshops that are all inclusive
So
and
maybe we'll
they
we'll
are
talk to
very
you again.
welcome. Mhm.
Absolutely. And I think as we've said, we all have this balance of masculine and feminine. Unfortunately, we men tend to suppress the masculine side, and then of course with the feminine side suppressed, the masculine side becomes immature or becomes full of shadows, or not out of control, but not in control, if you like. We can't give from a totally just masculine perspective. We have to have a balance from a male perspective, but it's similar from a female perspective, I would assume. There needs to be that balance, the masculine and the feminine.
The I would say harmony, yeah,
Harmony.
and
Yeah,
understand that the masculine um, has been wounded and conditioned as well for, since the dawn of
absolutely.
humanity. So it
Absolutely.
takes time and patience and compassion.
All
Yeah,
right, Uria. Thank you very much. Been
thank
great
you.
talking to you. Talk to
Thank
you
you.
soon. Bye bye. Bye.
Bye.